All right, welcome everybody. This is the first podcast that I'm doing. Hopefully I'll stop saying a lot, by the way. That's a little pet peeve of mine. But let's get started. Who am I? My name is Kevin Turner. Most people refer to me as just Coach. I'd prefer, after seeing the Black Panther movie, to be called Coach Killmonger, because that's my dude. But I do understand why T'Challa actually needed to be king, but that's a whole different story. That's not what we're going to talk about. My story, who am I? All right, quick thing is I was born in Jamaica, and not Queens. I actually mean the island in Kingston, Jamaica, and came to America as a young kid. Now, all of this actually makes a lot of sense in hindsight, how I see things and perceive things. It's interesting when you look back. So I came to America when I was a young child and grew up in Queens, New York, and then moved and went to school down in Northern Virginia area, college that is. So the deal is I started running track and playing sports, football, in high school. I was already an artist. I could draw since birth, so that's a thing that I'll get into in a second. But I joined sports because my mom told me you need to do something besides draw. So I decided, hey, let me join football and track and field. And I did pretty well. I mean, I don't feel that I was a natural talent, not initially. It took some time, and then when I hit puberty, about 17 years old, for me anyway, that's when I started doing some things. I don't say, and I wouldn't say I was exceptionally talented. I was okay, talent-wise, but for some reason I hated losing. It's not that I loved winning, I just hated losing, which is strange. Most people, it's the win that they seek. I just wanted to be the best I could possibly be, and I knew that would mean that I was winning. So anyway, it's a weird way to think of things. So I went through school, high school, and then went to college. And after going to college, I found that I got a lot of injuries. I started pulling my hamstrings, and having knee issues, and just overall was constantly nagged by little injuries here and there. I never really accomplished what I wanted to. And one day, I just got sick of going to the training room and doing rehab and rehab and rehab. And I got tired of it. I said, something's got to give. Something's wrong, because you're not fixing me. You're just taking me through some cycles. You know, do this, do that, sitting here, and then it heals, and then you go out and it happens again. So I started thinking to myself, and this is where the art part comes in. Because I've been drawing since birth, I've been studying how the human body is since I can remember, as well as nature and everything else. But I in particular like the human body because I used to read comics, Marvel and so forth and so on. So I would draw different characters, and I would notice the dynamic moves of the fingers and the hands and their bodies. And I always was taken by that, on how amazing the human body can move and the things it can do. So I've been drawing it since then. So of course, you know, I'm pretty good by the time I'm in college. And I decided, as an artist, because I'm paying attention to things, because as an artist, you focus on details of how this is done. The smallest changes or tweaks are the things that actually make a thing uniquely, whatever it is, or what makes it look the way you want it to. So my brain was set up to pay attention to detail. So as I was running, I would pay attention to the details of how each guy ran and what made that individual better, and which guys were the best and what was common with all of them. So all of this is running through my head because I'm trying to get better and I'm trying to beat these guys. These are all thoroughbreds pretty much. And I'm like this little baby Clydesdale clucking around trying to figure out how am I going to beat them. So as I get injured and I decide, hey, this is out of control. These people don't know what they're doing. They can't fix me. I said, let me look at it from the artistic standpoint. Let me square it away, wipe the board clean, and look at the training that I'm doing. And I don't mean running. I meant weightlifting, the lifting and the exercise components. And I decided to really look into that. And that is when I started to figure out, by doing it and by breaking everything down to the smallest component, that's when I started figuring out, you know what? We're missing a lot of stuff. We're skipping 2, 3, 4 levels of training and just jumping into the into the shark-infested waters without knowing how to swim. So some of us will survive because that's just how it works. Some of us are designed in a way that it takes longer for the body to just fall apart or get injured. But most of us won't. The most talented sometimes are not the ones that actually make it to the top levels. A lot of the time, the most talented are the ones that have small things that you need to work on and adjust that's going to make them the best. So anyway, I decided to get really in depth with this training and stop running and just focus on what it is that makes an individual better. And I realized really it's nuanced movements. It's even more than that, and I'll get into that. But primarily, it's a matter of sitting down and saying to yourself, okay, what is bicep curls for? Really, what is it for? Is it for my shoulders? Am I supposed to rock my shoulders and my back? What is the point of exercise? What is the point of weight training? What is the point of all of this? And when you strip it all down, you find out that it's about health. Primary reason to do any exercise, no matter what it is to gain health for longevity and to perform better at the same time. Looking sexy is a natural byproduct of that. You don't have to try to look sexy if you're doing everything right. You're going to look sexy. That just comes with it. So as I'm training, I realized that you have to connect with the body. My right side is more connected than my left side. So now I have to focus even more to develop neural connections to each body part. And I realize we're not connected almost at all to the back part of our body. No one worries about your back and your lower back and mid back and glutes. And nowadays you worry about your glutes because having a butt is important for some reason, when it was always important. I don't follow these fad things, so I don't get it, but whatever. No one does hamstrings. No one does calves. You all see these guys who are swole on top, super big, massive, and then they got little chicken legs. Most people aren't concerned with being balanced overall from top to bottom, front to back, side to side. We're just focused on whatever the society deems attractive at that point in time. Now, anyway, let's get back to the point. I keep getting off topic. So I started training and figuring out that there's a lot of things missing. No one teaches you how to breathe, for example. Breath is the most important component to the human body currently. Try not to eat. You'll last a few days. Don't drink water, you'll last a few days. Hold your breath and see how long you'll last. Breath is the fuel that we need to master. We need to master our lungs. We need to master how we intake oxygen and how we exhale carbon dioxide. Without that, you fatigue faster and your performance diminishes. There's a lot of things that go with that. So it helps you control your heart rate. It helps you relax. It helps you with so many different things that are involved in the science component of things that I don't want to get into right now. But I had to learn one thing primarily is that you need to understand how to control your breathing, how to use your breathing to benefit your training. And no, I don't see people doing that. I see people holding breath, trying to pop blood vessels, puckering their lips as if they're trying to blow out candles or kisses or whatever the hell they're trying to blow. That's not what it's for. You don't walk around puckering your lips to breathe. You just breathe. You inhale and exhale through your nose and somewhat through your mouth. That's how it works. That's how you should be breathing, but in a controlled fashion. So master nuances of things first before you run around and start doing all these other things. So I'm going to get in those other topics later on, but that gives you a quick idea of who I am. I don't like the fact when I see kids training now, especially kids, and their focus is on ego, which is pushing the weights up and then dropping it, or just and moving. Look, I moved it. Just because you moved it didn't mean you did it right. You've done more harm to yourself than good, actually. So to me, watching these kids doing these squats and messing up their spine and messing up their connective tissues for the sake of ego, some idiot coach who is just regurgitating the nonsense that they learn, thinking that that's what's going to make you better overall, and not really understanding the true concepts of what training entails. It's a doing thing, kind of like art. In order for me to be better at drawing a person's face or their body, I have to practice for countless hours, doing the same thing over and over again. And slowly I will get better and better, more control of my hand, more control of the visual information that's coming in and relaying it to my hand to relay that through the pen to the paper. It's practice. It's a physical doing thing. It's not a thing I can read. I can't go and read a book on how to draw and then all of a sudden, I'm a great artist. It doesn't work that way. Anything that's physical does not work that way. It has to be done, and it has to be done over the course of time. You're not going to build a katana, for those of you, samurai sword, by reading it in a book and watching a couple of videos and 4 years later graduate from school and then make these amazing katanas. It doesn't work that way. It takes a lifetime of training and doing it and observing the smallest of details, understanding, what is this mineral and which ones are good by just looking at it and feeling it. That's a thing you cannot learn from reading. You have to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, reading, you need to. You need to read, you need to understand certain components. But I think our society's gotten caught up in these pieces of paper that are being passed out because you paid for it. You pay for it, you take a test, great, now you're good at it. No, that's not how it works. And we've all been bamboozled or led astray thinking that. I know I was, because I shouldn't have been hurt in college. They should have understood and realized that, wow, if we give him too much weights or if he lifts a certain way, his upper body grows faster than his lower body. We shouldn't have him imbalanced that way. We should give him less weights on his upper body and lighter and use more body control. And his lower half, yes, we should focus on doing those twice as much, if not 3 times as much, with regards to strength training and stability, so that he can carry his upper body effectively and efficiently. Then we need to balance the front of his legs as opposed to the back of his legs, as well as the inner and outer sides of his legs. Calves, tendons, ligaments, feet, how is his toes landing? How is all of that working for this individual? None of that is really taken in consideration. And everybody keeps using this nonsense about, well, I have 20 kids, 30 kids, I can't get to all of them. Then you need another job. You need another job, homie. You need another job, because reality is that's your job, to be able to get to everybody. So you need to organize yourself properly so you can get to everyone. I'll give you a quick thing before I get off this thing. Here's a story of my track coach. Now, his name is John Cook, by the way. What's up, Coach Cook? Coach Cook took me to train one of my last semesters training because I was training with the sprinters, and I was doing okay, but my speed comes from my strength, which is weird. I was like a hybrid type of a runner. Now, I was running with the distance people this time, and trust me when I say Division I distance guys that are, they are no joke. So anyway, they're running and we're doing 600-meter hills. And he looks, he says, we've got 4 of these. So I said, okay, this sucks, but whatever. And we take off. By the second one, of course, I'm still in the back because these guys are killing me. And so I'm in the back, I'm observing them and trying to relax. And that's when I learned what relaxation meant when you were running, by observing how fluid they moved, that there was no struggle with the movement. The harder you struggle, the slower you go. I connected on that day and figured that out, which was great. But after the second one, I was about to, of course, fall out because I don't run that many, that long, that many 600s like that. That wasn't my way of training. So when we got down to the bottom of the hill, getting ready for the third one, coach looks at me and says, okay, you only got 1 more. The rest of you still got 2. And I was like, okay. Now get me, I was happy, but I was still trying to figure, what? We ran that one. I still wasn't in the front, trust me. These guys were real. So I finished that, stayed at the top. They went down, came back up, and then we went to the other side of the hill, and we had, I think, 10 like 100-meter hills at a steeper incline. And he looks at me and he says, you're finishing every one of these. I said, okay. Now these, I was killing everybody. I was boom, 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 I was gone. What I learned from that day, and he did it another day as well. What I learned from that day is that he recognized the difference in each of our talents. He recognized that I wasn't really a distance guy. I just had distance strength and to a degree. And so he cultivated that and got me as strong as he could in distance. So as well as gave me all the speed training I needed. So when I got on the track, I was killing them. Running was easy. It became effortless to me because I was no longer fatigued. My legs was coming up, and then my speed started coming. That's when I realized how fast I could be. Listen, you can't sit down and just say, I can't reach every kid. You've got to figure out a way how to do it. Bring somebody else on, whatever you got to do. That's not an excuse. Okay, excuses are for losers, and I really don't like that personally. So when I hear coaches say, oh, I got too many kids, I can't, you're a loser. In my book, you're a loser. I don't know. Figure it out for yourself, but your job is to take care of each of those kids. Bottom line. So anyway, that's my experience, and that's who I am, and that's how I came to be where I'm at. I'm real passionate about not getting people injured, about having them fulfill their goal and reaching to where they need to be. That's why I developed this method and way of training, because I was sick of seeing myself injured, and I realized that, guess what? It doesn't have to be that way. So anyway, until the next one, hope you guys enjoyed my little story about me. The next stuff won't be about me. I don't like talking about me that much. So till the next one, guys. See you later.